Alright folks, so as you all have seen previously, this bike had the 2-up Mustang seat on it. I've got it right here. So previously we had this seat on here. With setting this bike up now that I've been doing motorcycle camping on it and wanting to set it up more suited for that, time to make some changes. First thing that had to go was this 2-up seat so that I could put a different luggage rack on here, because I want to get my weight down lower and get a more horizontal platform rack system to carry my packs and stuff on. You've probably seen how I've been doing it, strapping it to this backrest and the small luggage rack on the back of that. Big pain in the butt. Constantly had to worry about weight shifting, straps not being secure. So we're doing away with that. This is the start of turning this bike into a cruiser, adventure, Sportster build, I guess you want to call it. It's going to be a little different, but the first step was change the seats out. So I've got a Mustang Solo seat on here now. It is essentially this seat without the 2-up passenger seat. So we've got that. The next step is I've already undone these bags. They're just universal toss-overs. I don't really like them. They don't sit still on the bike. They slide around. They're hard to keep lined up. They want to always work towards the back of the bike. So we're getting rid of those. And then getting rid of the backrest. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I went ahead and undid all of this when I changed the seat last night, but for video's sake. Alright, so there are those out of the way. Now, the next step is going to be figure out exactly what type of rack I want back here. I'm going to run a set of Tusk Pilot soft pannier bags, so I'm going to have to build pannier racks for this bike. You don't find off-the-shelf Sportsters parts like that when you want to put adventure stuff on a Sportster. You just don't find them. So I'm going to build a set. You'll see that in a later video. But right now, what I want to go ahead and do for the time being is I'm going to take the side plates off of this backrest, and I'm going to go ahead and make me a small wooden platform to go on here. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm going to make a small wooden platform to go on here right now, just to use as kind of a rough ballpark idea on what type of top rack I want, how big I need to be able to pack my day pack on here. Alright, so we've got our racks here. Go ahead and pull these plates off. Now I'm not going to use these quick detach plates on the new rack. I'm actually going to hit the rupture wrench is broke. Why is that not? There we go. I'm going to actually make some hard mounts to bolt in place of where these quick detach brackets are. So I'm going to make a plate to bolt to the side of this. It'll come up with a piece of angle on it, and then the rack will be bolted to that plate. I don't really trust these QD mounts for what I'm going to have, but it's going to be I know it's going to be a simple tubular frame like any other pannier rack with a top plate on it. Probably will bolt the rack on with a few bolts or some sort of clamping system, so I can just undo some bolts and take the whole rack off if I want to. That way it's also easier to get to my shocks if I need to change my preload or anything with the tire. I want it to be easy to come off, but I also don't want it to just be on these quick release studs. I want it a little bit more secure, no rattle. There is rattle in these right now that I don't really like. So, but for now, for just mocking up, getting an idea, we're going to use these side plates because it's what I've got. I'm all about using what I've got and making do with it until I make sure exactly what it is I'm looking for. That wrench is junk. Alright, so I've got my wood cut, measured, and laid out for my prototype back rack. It's actually going to work out pretty good to just be a trial run, I do believe. So that pack measures, the external dimensions of it are just a little under 17 inches wide by 22 inches tall and 12 inches deep. So I'm building this rack 17 inches outside to outside, 24 outside to outside. That way I've got a little bit of buffer room, but it'll fit on there good and tight. I may put a couple little sideboards on it. Not sure exactly yet. I'll know once I get it on there. These two plates measure 11 1/8 inches from inside to inside. So that's what I've got this set up. So the plates will bolt to the outside of this frame. This frame will sit down inside of here. And then I've got top boards to go on top of. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing screwed together, set it up there, get our holes marked, drill it, see what happens. Tough possum sit pad. These things are handy. I mean, there's all kinds of them out there, but I really like Jay Berry's stuff. He does good work, makes good products, so I always try to support him and purchase his stuff. Small businesses first. So there's that squared up. Everything is marked out. Check our spacing. Wait a minute. Blonde moment right there. Put everything to the wrong side of the marks. All right. After fixing my blonde moment mess up there, we're ready to try this again. So as they were getting them all lined back up though, get all the holes pretty well matched up. So everything should go together. Fairly well. And come out at 11 16. Yeah, 11. Close enough. Let's see how it fits on here now. Oh yeah. After getting the bolt in over here and getting this drawn up, looks like I need to redo some measurements. Not really for sure what's going on. I notched out for the fender. I centered it in the board. You can see where I made my center line marks right there. So I centered my notch. It's centered, but it did not come out quite right. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but looks like probably what I'm going to have to do is take this apart, shift my boards around a little bit, and get that centered, and then reattach it all. But we'll get it. Not a big deal. Trial and error. So what I elected to do here was take the front board off. That gave it enough movement to where I could get that pulled out against this side plate. And went ahead, got it level, drilled my hole. I'm going to go ahead and bolt it on. And then I'll undo those, let these come back, square them up, and then just reattach from there and build it on the bike. I thought about doing that in the first place, but wasn't really, thought I could measure it all out on the floor. But I guess when you're working with stuff that's got, you know, play in it like these do and odd angles, sometimes that plans just don't always work out. But learn as we go, adapt and overcome, and it won't be a big deal. This ain't the first time I've had to design something on the fly. Won't be the last. kind of the challenge and the enjoyment of things, isn't it? All right, so I got that where it needs to be. Now let's go ahead and tighten this up. All right, so there that is. Now, I'll undo this backboard here and get everything squared up and reattach. So they both have got a little bit of a taper. I see that in the mounts now. All right, so there's where our problem lies. If you look here, you can see we've got wider room up here than we do back here. I'm going to venture to say that's because I've got the plates flipped so that I had wider base. Not a big deal. It's wood. Even if it's metal, it's not a big deal. You can just build it to it and make it work. So I'm going to go ahead and just center everything back up. I'll get that front board anchored back up. We'll be back in business. All right, there we go. So there's that done. Got this down where I want it. Our brackets are in place. Next step is to drill the bottom holes. And then we'll put our top boards on there, sand it a little bit, shoot some paint on it. We're getting there. Got the top boards cut. Now I've just got to cut them to length down here. I've got them squared up. I went and took my Sharpie and run along the edge. So I'll take them back here and put them on the radial arm saw, cut them to length. We'll be ready to bolt this puppy together. All of the dimensions are cut. Everything is anchored and attached. And we ain't too awfully bad. Not too awfully bad. I will, like I said, I got to pull the license plate off. I'll do that after I paint it. I'll put that on there. I'm fixing to pull this back off, sand it down, and shoot some paint on it. Got to figure out the light situation. Not entirely for sure what I'm going to do on there just yet. I hadn't anticipated having to do that this early, so I don't have the stuff here that I was going to use on the final build. So we'll have to do something different there. But yeah, so the final build is going to be a tubular frame. It's going to come off, make a U shape down. This is the old saddlebag supports just to keep it off the shocks and stuff. Universal deal. But the final one, these will be essentially tubes that'll run off, horseshoe down, up. The new pannier bags will hang here on the side on the quick detach, and then we'll just have the top. Now the new bags are only 16 inches long. This is 24 inches front to back. So the new bags will be from about here back, whatever 16 inches are. I think it's right around here is about what it measures. Where's my tape measure? Tape measure's laying out there. There it is. Thank you, sir. 16 inches. Yeah, we'll put it right there about even with the tail light. That's why they got to be moved. So we'll see what happens. So we got the prototype rack finished up. Ended up, Dad made the suggestion. He said, why don't you cut them at a 45 on the back corners there, and made it look a lot better off. plus visibility of the turn signals are not impaired. So that's a good thing. Brake lights are good to go. License plates mounted. But it has turned out pretty good for some scrap pieces of lumber laying around. So here's the final product of the prototype rack. Running in town, found me some anchors. Paint it dried. So we've got four corner anchors. We got 2 eye bolts on the side. I went with the eye bolts on the side just to kind of keep stuff from shifting. Found some round baler belt back in the back of the shop. I didn't know we had any, but we found it. So put that on top. Eye bolts are on. I doubled up here for the eye bolts so that they had a little bit more meat to grab onto. And looks like we're good to go. Everything's pretty solid and looking good. So another view of the rear end of it. So everything should be good to go. This is my Hill People gear corner. I got a video out on it if y'all haven't seen it already. I'll link it up here in the top corner. So there we go. Now, like I said earlier, the actual pannier racks will come down. This won't be quite as wide. It's going to be flush with these shock mounts. Here's the plan. The saddlebags themselves will be. So have to work on that sizing and geometry. But what I'm thinking about for the final product is an aluminum box, probably about where these eye bolts are, that width. Set this down inside of an aluminum box. It's hinged with a small pelican on top. The pelican will have like my sun visor, my extra sun visor for my helmet, my winter, in the cool time, my helmet sock, my bigger gloves, water, snacks, stuff like that I get in and out of frequently. So that'll be in the pelican box. Then raise it up. My day pack will be under here. Rain gear will be in this saddlebag like always, and then this side will be whatever sleep system, whatever I need. So just gonna keep slowly getting at it, and just like I did with this thing, I'll work on the design and get it dialed in as I go. So part 1 of many parts to come of this series. I don't know how frequently it will be, just as I get stuff in. But in the meantime, guys, y'all keep your knives charged, your lights sharp. Get out there and enjoy nature. Find something cool to do.